Hi, this is Margo. This is Sunday evening, April the 24th, 2022. I hope everyone is safe and doing as well as possible. I'd like to welcome everyone to the show tonight. This will be my weekly update for methane and sea ice and other climate-related items that I'll be putting on YouTube. I'd like to welcome everyone to the show. It's been a very difficult week for me, but I'm doing better. It's a long story I really don't want to get into here, but it has to do with toxification at my apartment. And anyway, hopefully I'm getting that taken care of. So I'm feeling better. And you can hear my voice is better. Not 100% yet, but, working on it. So, we're going to start out, we're going to look at methane data from Noaa. I have 3 days worth of methane data to show. And then there'll be Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then on CAMS, we'll look at the Saturday data, and then we'll go from there. So, starting with Thursday, the 21st, and we're at the 477/469 millibar reading, and this is the MET-OP-B or MET-OP-1 satellite. In the morning, the mean or average was 1921 parts per billion. The high reading was 2387, and look how far south that pink is coming, and that pink is this range between 2000 and whatever is the high reading. So between 2000 and 2387 parts per billion there. In the afternoon, the mean was 1922 and the high reading was 2379. And then on Friday the 22nd, back in the morning, the mean or average was 1923. The high reading was 2388. In the afternoon, the mean was 1922, and the high reading was 2362. And then for Saturday, the 23rd, in the morning, the mean was 1923. The high reading was 2457. And in the afternoon, the mean was 1923. The high reading was 2361. So you can see that this mean has definitely gone up this week. Here's the spreadsheet. And for the 23rd, it averages out to be 1923 parts per billion. And last Saturday it was 1919.5, so that gives us an increase this week of 3.5 parts per billion. So we're above this line for 1920, and we're 17.5 parts per billion higher than we were a year ago. We're 53.5 parts per billion higher than when I started out doing this March the 1st of 2019. And as you can see, it's on the upswing now. We're in the warming season, warming trend now for this year. So let's see what happened this week. So here it was for the 16th, it was at 19.5, and that was an increase of half a part per billion that week. And then on the 17th, it went down half a point. On the 18th, no change. On the 19th, it went down another half a point. On the 20th, it jumped up 2 parts per billion, jumped up to 1920.5. And then it's been going up since then. Here's the 21st, jumped up another part per billion for 1921.5. On the 22nd, it was 1922.5, so another increase of 1. And then on the 23rd, 1923, so an increase of half a part per billion, giving us an overall increase this week of 3.5. So there we go. Now we'll move on over to CAMS. This is Copernicus Atmosphere Monitoring Services. I have Saturday the 23rd loaded, Arctic view, and surface level ready to go. And here's our color ledger at the bottom. So the data is for Saturday, and forecast period is Sunday through Wednesday. So we can see this Finland area is coming back to life, and the Scandinavian area. See, look at that. And that's been high this week there. Also, look at coming across Russia. This is coming back to life. Koktovik is billowing. Koktovik, Alaska. And we can see it coming up through the sea ice here in this East Siberian Sea and the Chukchi Sea. It's been popping off on Iceland this week. We also have this hot spot in the North Atlantic that's coming back to life. See that? Canada, this is where the tar sands are. That's coming back to life. And we've got a really large area releasing around North Dakota. That's where the lignite coal mine is. See that? Look at that. Just billow up. I think billowing is a good word to describe this. It's also been coming up in the North Sea and streaming up. Now we'll go to the North Pole view. Oops, didn't mean to do that. I don't know what I did. I don't know what I did. Let me refresh. Oh, there we go. North Pole view. Here we can see pretty much the whole northern hemisphere, and it's been hot here at the UK. I say hot, high methane here in the UK, also in Europe. See this wave moving out. This has been coming off of the UK and Europe and streaming out into the Atlantic. Here's Germany filling up. Here's the Persian Gulf. Here's India. Here's China. And Korea. See, it's kind of spilling over these coastlines here. And then here in North America, see this northeast. And then in the forecast period, we get some blobs popping up from Texas east. They've got rain this week, so usually a few days after the rain is when the methane rises up, becomes a big blob. That's my scientific term for when you see the big dark areas. And then you see the waves moving out across the oceans here. And now we'll hop down to the Antarctic. So here we're seeing higher readings spilling down further south. This is quite a change from last time, isn't it? And it had been, this 1820 was our main background color, and now see this 1840 is really streaming down. And methane, it's readjusting through the atmosphere as we head into the spring and summer. So we're getting higher readings further south. And we can see that 1840 is about to take over down here. So as it does that, it's hard for us to really discern where it's coming up around the coastlines. It's just coming up all over the place. And streaming, see, streaming further south. And then we'll go to the global view. And you can definitely see the big takeover here in the South Atlantic, going to 1840 and higher. See, it's going into the lighter aqua too. Also in the Indian Ocean here. And look at over Australia, it's almost covered with that 1840 now. And see it streaming further south here in the Pacific too. Look at South America. Look at the big blobs coming from Brazil all the way across to the coast, coming across Ecuador, Peru, up into Colombia too. look at 500 HPA. So see this heavy right across the Arctic. It's also coming south, a lot of areas, and see the reds and yellows, they're popping up further south as well. Look down here. Here's some red, not far from the Antarctic. So that's another sign of higher readings. And then total column. And we can see all along from China down into southern Asia and Japan. Also here, this is that's the Philippines, I think. Also look at South America. See, it's high here in Peru and here Brazil. But the reds are kind of dissipating. Not as red as it had been. Don't know what that's about. Now let's look at Climate Reanalyzer. Here we are for, let's look at maximum temperatures for today. Wow, see all these whites? That's above 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Look at India and all across Africa, Papua New Guinea. Here's 2-meter temperature anomaly. See, it's for today. And look at all these blues coming across the Arctic, and then some browns, and then blues and purples in Canada. A jet stream is totally broken, and so that's why this cold air is swooping down. See, and then right next to the browns where it's warmer than normal. And here's the flat view. Same thing happening on this east side as well. Worldwide, we're up 0.1 C higher than normal. Northern Hemisphere is up 0.4 C. The Arctic is down 1 C. The Antarctic is down 3 C. The Southern Hemisphere is down 0.2 C. And the tropics are up 0.3 C. That's higher than normal. And now precipitation and clouds. So look up here, this rain in the Pacific coming up across the Aleutian Islands and up towards this Russia side, and that's where sea ice is. So that sea ice will be melting really fast there. And then we've got a big, see this cold, that's snow and ice there up in Canada, and then rain coming down through the US. Let's see, here's the flat view. There's that. And then here's what's used to be the jet stream. And that's pretty scary, isn't it? Look at these loops and breaks, and then this one kind of going north of the equator, kind of a straight line. Then that breaks, and then here's another straight line. And then in the southern hemisphere, it's just broken up. Here's sea ice and snow cover. And we're still not seeing a lot of change, around the extent. It is decreasing. We can see it's melting here along the Canada coastline, also around Greenland, and it's shrinking on this eastern side. It's mainly melting. It's not as thick, and it's disappearing here, like in the Bering Sea. And then sea surface temperature anomaly. As of yesterday, the 23rd, and this goes up to 6°C higher than normal, up into this whitish pink. I think they're going to have to change this and make it higher than that. But look at all these browns here in the Baltic Sea, the North Sea, and all around the UK. This whole North Atlantic area, it's really heating up. And look around Iceland, and we still have browns up here in the Bering Sea. And then this is usual hot spots here in the Atlantic off the coast of North America. And here's the Gulf of Mexico. We've got a hot spot there, just south of Alabama. Now here's the flat view. Look at, this is the Arabian Sea. Look at that. That's heating up. This whole Indian Ocean's heating up. Also see around Kamchatka, and then coming across the Pacific. And see these islands, island region, that's all brown. Worldwide, we're up 0.3°C higher than normal. Northern Hemisphere, North Atlantic, and North Pacific are up 0.4°C. The Southern Hemisphere is up 0.3°C. And the Equatorial Pacific is down 0.2°C, lower than normal. So there's that. Now we'll move on to the sea ice. Oh wait, I wanted to show. Here's sulfur dioxide for today. This is from CAMS, and it's high here. This is volcano, probably volcano related. Here's another high reading here over the Atlantic Ocean. Also, it's something's been happening from the Arctic down through Canada, And when you look at it at 500 HPA, see it's a high reading that's hanging on. This has been going on for about 3 days now. I don't know what it's from. You know, it's could be just plate movement. I don't know. And see here over the Atlantic. This is at 500 HPA. Here's the Arctic view. So here's Canada. See, it's kind of streaming from Russia across to Canada and then streaming down south. And here it is at 500 HPA. See, that's really unusual to see that. So I'm not sure what this is from. And now I'm switching to ozone. Here it is over the Antarctic. Here's the hole opening or forming. Now that the sun's going down there, usually the hole forms. And you can see all the greens. Anything greenish tinge, even this yellow green, that's below average. The solid yellow is 300 Dobson units. That's considered average. And so most of the Antarctic is lower than average. And then we've got a big break going up in the Atlantic there. And here's the Arctic, a view of the ozone. We can see it's lightening up. Things are shifting. And here's the global view. And we can see most of the southern hemisphere is in the green. We've got aqua down here around these Asian islands, Southeast Asian islands. It's not good. That's all of those. Now, we'll close those. We'll move on to sea ice. Going to start with National Snow and Ice Data Center. This is sea ice concentration in the Arctic for yesterday, the 23rd. We can see more blues coming in as it's starting to melt, and less concentrated means that it's not as packed together. There might be holes, open water between pieces of ice, or it's just really melting, kind of slushy, things like that. This gold line is the median, and we can see the melting here in the Bering Sea. Also, it's melting here in the Sea of Okhotsk pretty good. Here's the chart for sea ice extent for the Arctic for yesterday. This blue line is this year, the dotted line is 2012, and this gray line is the average. Now we can zoom in and see, it's definitely on the decline. We're still quite a bit below where it was in 2012. So remember in 2012 the sea ice was a lot thicker, and so we just don't have as much to deal with here. And in the Antarctic, we're watching the refreeze now. This is sea ice concentration. And again, the golden line is the median. So it's under where the median is. And here's the chart for the extent, or the graph. And this blue line is this year, the green line is last year, and this gray line is the average. So we're kind of running parallel to last year, but we're still well below where we were this time last year. Now we'll move on to the U.S. Navy models. Here we're looking at sea ice thickness for the Arctic. This is for today. And look over here in the Bering Sea. You can see the ice diminishing as it's moved from like light lavender into the white, and that means it's melting. And here's the Bering Strait, and here's this big hole next to Alaska. Here in the Sea of Okhotsk, you can see that that's diminishing as well. Here in Quadrant 1, you can see around the coastline here in the Laptev Sea. This is, it's pulling away from the coastline. And here in Quadrant 2, we can see it's mainly purples and blues. And in Quadrant 3, just above Greenland, you've got your aquas, got a little bit of green. Green is 3 meters thick. Your aquas are like 2 to 2.5 meters thick. And got a little line of the dark red, that's about 5 meters thick. Just a little line there. Here's the Baffin Bay. And here's the Hudson Bay. You can see aquas on the right, purples and blues on the left. And these tributaries are mainly aqua. And then Quadrant 4, mainly aquas. And then here's our thickest ice, just next to Canada. From greens down to, or up to the dark red, that's the 5 meters thick. That's it. That's it for the thickest ice, and you know, we're heading into melting, so we'll be following it. Okay, here's the 30-day animation. This was updated to yesterday. The data goes back 3 weeks, and the forecast goes out about till next Saturday. So let's zoom in, and you can see, watch this Bering Sea, that's in high melt. See, in the forecast period it really starts shrinking down, and Sea of Ocos, same thing. And it's still thickening in the interior here in the Arctic Ocean. It's going to thicken as long as it can, as the edges are kind of melting, but it's still thickening up too. You can see the ice moving. See, sliding. That's the way the ice drift. You know, it's sliding over to the right there. And here's Greenland. So it's kind of in a holding pattern as things start heating up. Now watch here, the Hudson Bay. See, that's a big melting going on there in the forecast period. So there's that. And here's the Beaufort Sea, sea ice thickness. Canada on the right, there's our thicker ice, the 5 meters. And then down to the green, 3 meters. And then here's our 2 to 2.5 meters thick. Here's Alaska, here's the whole. Just off the coast. And here's the 30-day animation. This was updated to today. So here the forecast period goes out to next Sunday. We can see it's pulling away again from the coastline in the forecast period. Here's the Antarctic for today. Here's the regrowth. We can see here in the Ross Sea, that's come way out. Here on the west side. And here's the Weddell Sea. It's filling out. A little bit of regrowth on the north side, not that much. And a little bit on the east side. Most of the thickest ice is here in the Weddell Sea. Here's the 30-day animation. This was updated to yesterday. So the forecast goes out to next Saturday. Slow going, isn't it? And that's all of those. And I wanted to show Here on National Snow and Ice Data Center, they've started tracking the Greenland ice sheet melt. They start that back up in April. And so they started that back up on the 20th. So we'll be following that too. The salmon color is where it's currently melting. Not seeing anything at the moment, but it already has been melting. See the blue down here on the southeast edge? It's already had some melt days. Just somewhere in that blue range. I don't know if it's quite up to 10 yet, probably not. From January 1st to April 21st. And here's their chart for melt extent, and see the little hump there? That's where it's already started melting. And normally it's flat. It doesn't start melting that much yet. But that's to be expected, like everything else. Alright, now we'll move on. Looking at NASA Worldview now. Here's the Arctic. Here's Greenland. And we can turn on the sea ice concentration layer, and we can see where it's melting. Let's see down here in the Baffin Bay around the Canada side, and here on this east side of Greenland you can see the reds and different colors coming in. Also this east side of the ice from Svalbard up, that's now in the melting, and along the Russia coastline, see there, we're seeing more pinks come in. Solid white means it's fully concentrated, meaning no breaks. It doesn't tell the thickness, it just means that there's no breaks. And so we're seeing more pinks, and here on the Alaska and Canadian side, see, you can see the reds and see the blues here. That's where that hole is on the Alaska coastline. And here in the Bering Sea, that's in high melt, you can see the different colors. And along Russia, and here in the Sea of Okhotsk, same thing. So it's all in the light now, sunlight. That's so it's tilting more towards the sun and starting to heat up. So let's go in, see what we can see. Here's Greenland. This is Ellesmere Island. This is the nearest strait. Look at this. Look at this open water. And then there's where it's melting. And here's the bottleneck. And then here's Greenland and Baffin Bay. See, there's a lot of open water there. And you can see the cracks. And here, along this west coast of Greenland, here at the Baffin Bay, it's cracking up, breaking up, melting. See, there's the ice edge. And we've got a cloud here, and so it's open along this west coast here. And here's a little bit of ice on the east side. See, there it is. There it is. Here you can see how it's melting. Where you see the dark blue, that's open water. See here. And here's the north side. We've got a cloud here. So let's just follow this east side up. Here's Svalbard. And we can see it's melting around this North Island. There's the ice. This is a good view. See how that's opening up. Here's Franz Josef Land, these islands. And then coming on out, there's Novaya Zemlya. There's a little bit of ice here. Not that much. We've got clouds too. Here it is around the coast. Let's see. Here it is. See, it's pulled away from the coast there. Here's the Kara Sea. This is the Yamal Peninsula. We're looking through a cloud, I think. And we've got some cracks here, see. And then this is the North Kara Sea. And here's Severnaya Zemlya. This is Komsomolets. And here it is around the island, you can see. See what's going on. Here it is. See, melting there. Then coming on up, this is the Laptev Sea here, and this is coming apart. see this ice edge that kind of comes out from the coast. It's like a little ice shelf, and then this is where it's frozen up to there, but it's melting. Look at this. Here's New Siberian Islands. And let's see, here's open water there. Look at this. Look, see. This is the East Siberian Sea here. See the cracks? Here's Wrangell Island. There's the melting ice. Here's the Chukchi Sea. See the cracks? And then we hop down. This is the Bering Strait. And see, we've got some open water there. Look how that's melting. Look at that. That's going fast. Here's Alaska. Look. Look at this. Here's Barrow. And look how that's just really thin ice there. Look at this. This is the Beaufort Sea. Look at this. Open water. That's breaking up fast, isn't it? And then here's Canada. And then this is where that thicker ice is, like that, a little bit of 5 meter, and then 3 meter, a little bit further out. And you can see the cracks forming. And we're back to Ellesmere Island. So that's where we're at with the Arctic. Now let's go got a couple of things to show you in the Antarctic here. Now this is in the model where the sun has gone down, so it's dark. Look at this. This is that A76 iceberg. It's still got momentum and is still moving out towards sea, open water, but there's still ice around it, but it looks like it's bursting through. It's crazy. It's still moving along. I thought it would get icebound. It may. I just don't know. Don't know. It's moving on out. This is the Western Peninsula, and this is the Weddell Sea here. Here's the east side. This is the Amory ice shelf. Let's see, yesterday. Here it is. And the sun is so low that we get these weird colors. It's at a low angle. Here's the Totten Glacier. See, there's that tongue. You can see that crack all the way across. It never really broke off. And here's where the ice is freezing back. See? And then today, that one's covered up. So there's that. Now let's look at some earthquakes. This one just came in. 4.8 in the Norwegian Sea. This is at 72 north latitude, so this is an Arctic earthquake. This came in at 5:28 this afternoon Pacific time. Okay, we got 214 worldwide right now. So a lot of activity been going on here around Japan, in the northern part, and the Kuril Islands. This has been very active. These are volcanic islands up here. I wanted to show, let's go 7 days, all magnitudes. Look at this. 2,045 earthquakes this last week. We had a 5.1 on the north coast of Greenland, and see, we had a couple here in the North Atlantic. Here was okay, that's the new one in the Norwegian Sea. We had another 4.3 on the 18th in the Norwegian Sea. We had two. I thought there was only one. There were two at Tiksi, Russia, or near Tiksi, Russia. Again, Arctic earthquakes. This is on the coast of the Laptev Sea. And, okay, a 4.2 on the 20th. And then a 4.1 on the 21st. So we'll be seeing more and more of these Arctic earthquakes as things progress. Also, we had a lot of movement on the Juan de Fuca plate, just off the coast of North America here. 5.3 on the north end near Port McNeill, Canada. And then C coming on down, 4.0, 2.2, 2.8, and then several at the base there. So this Cascadia zone that's showing movement of that. Look at all of this. Here's West Texas. Peppered around. Look up here. Here's one in Maine. 2.5 at Sebec, Maine on the 23rd. 2.0 in Canada on the 20th. And then around this Cocos plate, a lot of activity. Nicaragua, there was what was this? 6.7 off the coast of Nicaragua. That was on the 21st. And then all the way on this west side of South America. Also here in the South Atlantic, 5.1. And then more down here in South Sandwich Islands. And here's a 5.5 in the Scotia Sea next to that western peninsula. Look at all of this plate movement. See, around the Antarctic plate. Just all over the place. And then over here, what is this? In the Philippines, 6.1 and a 6.0. Now these were back to back. Well, 18th. On the 18th was the 6.1. And on the 20th was the 6.0 off the coast of Manay, Philippines. So, lots and lots of movement. So that's my report for tonight. And I like to bring things back to a spiritual perspective. And we're continuing to read out of the book of Ecclesiastes in the Bible. Ecclesiastes was written by King Solomon. Ecclesiastes chapter 10. Dead flies cause the ointment of the apothecary to send forth a stinking savour. So doth a little folly him that is in reputation for wisdom and honour. A wise man's heart is at his right hand, but a fool's heart at his left. Yea, also, when he that is a fool walketh by the way, his wisdom faileth him, and he saith to every one that he is a fool. If the spirit of the ruler rise up against thee, leave not thy place, for yielding pacifieth great offences. There is an evil which I have seen under the sun, as an error which proceedeth from the ruler. Folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in low place. I have seen servants upon horses, and princes walking as servants upon the earth. He that diggeth a pit shall fall into it, and whoso breaketh an hedge, a serpent shall bite him. Whoso removeth stones shall be hurt therewith, and he that cleaveth wood shall be endangered thereby. If the iron be blunt, and he do not whet the edge, then must he put to more strength. But wisdom is profitable to direct. Surely the serpent will bite without enchantment, and a babbler is no better. The words of a wise man's mouth are gracious, but the lips of a fool will swallow up himself. The beginning of the words of his mouth is foolishness, and the end of his talk is mischievous madness. A fool also is full of words. A man cannot tell what shall be, and what shall be after him. Who can tell him? The labor of the foolish wearieth every one of them, because he knoweth not how to go to the city. Woe to thee, O land, when thy king is a child, and thy princes eat in the morning. Blessed art thou, O land, when thy king is the son of nobles, and thy princes eat in due season, for strength and not for drunkenness. By much slothfulness the building decayeth, and through idleness of the hands the house droppeth through. A feast is made for laughter, and wine maketh merry, but money answereth all things. Curse not the king, no, not in thy thought, and curse not the rich in thy bedchamber. For a bird of the air shall carry the voice, and that which hath wings shall tell the matter. Ecclesiastes chapter 10. So I hope everyone has a good week. Stay strong. Persevere. If you haven't given your life to Jesus Christ, I highly recommend it. And that you develop a personal relationship with Him and God while you still have a chance. Get their protection. Get their guidance. They're there waiting for you. So until next time, I love you all and I'm praying for you. God bless you. Go in peace, and I will talk to you soon. Good night.